Welcome to Social Psychology Part 2. Let's get started. Okay, this is important. So, whether it's advertisements or political persuasion or even you talking to your parents or your loved one, you can go about persuasion in two different ways. I'm sure you can do it more, but these are the two I'm talking about. Central route of persuasion is when you use facts and logic. Mom, I want to go to this college because it's more convenient and it has more to do with my major. Mom, you should buy me a new phone because it'll make it easier for you to communicate with me. That's facts and logic. Peripheral route of persuasion is when you use feelings, feelings of belonging and love. In advertisement, it's you should buy this product because it will make you feel loved. It'll make you feel higher status. Wear these shoes and you will be cool among your peers. Drive this car and you will feel better about yourself and you will feel higher status among your friends. Central route would be you should buy this car because it's safe and reliable and affordable. That's using facts and logic. I hope that this is worth our time, but I want to show you an advertisement.
I saw it written and I saw it say, Bingo Moon is on his way. None of you stand so tall. Bingo Moon gonna get you on to
Okay, that ad had such an effect on me. I actually bought that car. And even today, I still drive a Volkswagen convertible. Um, and that's probably going to keep this video off YouTube. Oh, well. So, did at any point in that advertisement say that you should buy a Volkswagen because they are reliable, affordable, and they have better gas mileage and they have better safety features? No, that is not what that ad said. That ad said that you will enjoy riding it, you will have friends, and you will be cool among your social group. And that's so the ad used peripheral route of persuasion, not central route. Okay, so let's take a look at some ads. By the way, here's a visual. Central route, my product has been proven more effective. That's central route. Why is it called central? Going directly through the rational mind, influencing attitudes with evidence and logic. However, peripheral route is going around the rational mind. Peripheral, outer edge, going around the rational mind. People who buy my product are happy and attractive. That's the peripheral route. And it's not just advertisements, it's when you're trying to convince people of something. Okay? All right, so here's an ad. This is a famous NFL quarterback, and he's saying, believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. So is the ad saying that Nike is a better shoe or better product? No, it's saying that if you buy it, you will be cool like this guy. Okay? Here's another one. Ad, be together, not the same. Is this ad saying that Android is better than Apple? No, it's saying be one of us. Fit in with us. If you get an Android, you will be in our community. You will fit in. Now, what about this? It's a Toyota truck, If only your luggage was this unbreakable. 5-star safety rating. So this is central route. It's saying that this truck is reliable and it's safe. So it would be more rational to buy this truck. That's central route, going directly through the rational mind. Okay? All right. So as this question implies, this is done with politics too. I'll be quiet. Go ahead and answer this question. The answer is candidate A is using central route, detailed facts on important issue. Candidate B is using peripheral. Emotional appeal, candidate B. Okay? All right. The primary difference between the central route and peripheral route is whether the persuasion focuses on what? The answer is the content. Is it rational or does it appeal to your emotions? All right. You don't have to write this down. I don't think it's important, but I think you kind of know it. I will say this. Prejudice is an attitude that you have. You may say, I don't like those people. Like, for example, you may say, I don't like baby boomers. Okay, that is a prejudice that you may have. Discrimination is an action that you take based on that prejudice. And usually, a lot of times, it's illegal to discriminate. And you could be prejudiced and not discriminate. You could say, well, I don't like this kind of person, but I'm going to hire them anyway. So you may have prejudice, but you may not discriminate. I don't think this is important for the AP exam, so I want to move on. All right, I've seen this a few times over the years, ethnocentrism. I've taught it in AP Human Geography. So let's do some semantic encoding. Centric, center, ethno, ethnic. It's when you see everything through the eyes of your own ethnicity, your own culture, your own nationality. So if you think that when you hit 18 that you should move out of your house and move far away and go get a job and try to make some money, then that may be your culture, but that may not be everyone else's culture, because everyone else may say, how could you leave your family? I mean, that is just beyond ridiculous to leave your family just because you turn 18. Okay? So just something to think about, different cultural values. We also are ethnocentric when we judge other people based on our own culture. Take a look at that. Okay, all right, moving right along. All right, so how do we combat prejudice? There's two ways, according that I know of from the AP exam. First of all, mere exposure. Get around people you supposedly expose yourself to people that you may not like, and what you will find is that they are just like anybody else. If you don't like Vietnamese people, go hang out with them, and you will find that you'll like some of them and you won't like some of them. They're just normal people. Also, a subordinate goal. Do you think that your favorite sports team has racial prejudice? Probably not. Why? Because they have a subordinate goal to win games. So you don't see a lot of racism or prejudice in a locker room of a sports team, because you're working together for a common goal. That's called a subordinate goal. All right, moving right along. Damn it, all right. Anyway, so yeah, subordinate goals. I messed that one up. Okay. All right. Try this question. The answer is, all right, yeah. Justin is being ethnocentric. He only sees things from his own perspective. Imagine white people going to Europe and asking for ice in their drink. Europeans look at you like, what? What are you talking about? We never put ice in our drinks, but we do. Conformity. Oh, some really interesting stuff here. Conformity is when people go with the crowd, and it's not always a bad thing. Okay, I got a video I want to show you that's 4 minutes long, but there was a guy named Solomon Asch, and what he did was he showed, he wanted to say this line is the same length as which one of these two lines, and he got a bunch of people together, and there was only one sucker, and he was trying to get that one sucker to conform their answer.
But an experiment is not a public opinion poll. It examines behavior under the pressure of social forces, as the experiment of Solomon Asch reveals.
The experiment you'll be taking part in today involves the perception of lengths of lines. As you can see here, I have a number of cards, and on each card there are several lines. Your task is a very simple one. You're to look at the line on the left and determine which of the 3 lines on the right is equal to it in length. All right, we'll proceed in this order. You'll give your answer.
Only one of the people in the group is a real subject, the 5th person with the white t-shirt. The others are confederates of the experimenter and have been told to give wrong answers on some of the trials. The experiment begins uneventfully as subjects give their judgments.
2,
2,
2,
2,
2, 3,
3,
3,
3.
But on the 3rd trial, something happens.
2, 2,
2,
2, 2.
The subject denies the evidence of his own eyes and yields to group influence.
1.
Asch found subjects went along with the group on 37% of the critical trials.
37%. Now, that's not a lot, but it's still an interesting amount. I mean, some people, 37%, did conform their answer.
But he found through interviews that they went along with the group for different reasons.
1.
1.
They must be right. There are 4 of them and 1 of me.
1.
This subject's yielding is based on a distortion of his judgment. He genuinely believes that the group is correct.
1. 1. 1. 2.
And then they look at it.
1. 2. 2. 2.
I know they're wrong, but why should I make waves?
2.
In this case, the subject knows he is right, but goes along to avoid the discomfort of disagreeing with the group. Here, the distortion is at the level of his response.
2. 2. 2. 2.
In the previous experiment, the naive subject stood alone against the group. In this variation, Asch gave the naive subject a partner, here seated in the 3rd position, who also gives the correct response.
1.
1, 2, 1.
2.
With a partner, yielding drops to only 5% of the critical trials compared to 37% without a partner.
So it drops.
Although subjects report warmth and good feeling toward the partner, they typically deny that he played a role in their own independence. The partnership variation shows that much of the power of the group came not merely from its numbers, but from the unanimity of its opposition. When that unanimity is punctured,
The group needs to be unanimous.
the group's power is greatly reduced. Sometimes we go along with the group because what they say convinces us they are right. This is called informational conformity. But sometimes we conform because we are apprehensive that the group will disapprove if we are deviant. This is called normative conformity. The strength of the normative factor is shown in another variation carried out by Asch. In this variation, the subject is told that because he had arrived late, he would have to write his answers. Subjects in this private response experiment are exposed to the same amount of misleading information as other subjects, but they are immune from any possible criticism by the group.
1.
1.
1.
And this enormously reduces the pressure to conform. Conformity drops by 2/3.
So they don't conform when they write their answers down.
Asch's experiment is a
Okay. I hope I hope that you appreciate that. I think that's really cool. People will conform their answers uh, for different reasons. So here's a good, if you draw those lines on your notes, that would be good to trigger your memory. This is the line study, and that's just to trigger your memory. And about 37% conformed, if you just want to write that. So Solomon Asch studied conformity. Now, there's a few things that are important. In order for conformity to happen, the group must be unanimous, meaning they all agree. And it must be at least 3 people. Now, I've seen this online. Whenever at least 3 or 4 people dog on me for something that I said, then nobody will come along and stick up for me. And so I see this conformity in bullying online. If I post an offensive meme online and like 3 people come after me, then everybody after that will come after me. And I've had people private message me saying, dude, I liked your meme. And I'm like, well, why don't you say that to the group? I think a lot of that has to do with conformity. But yeah, conformity explains fashion trends. Why do people dress a certain way? Conformity is not always a bad thing, okay? Every teacher wants there to be certain norms in the classroom and wants everybody to conform to them. Okay? That's a lot of extra stuff, but I think we've already I think we've already covered it. Okay. Okay, moving right along. Okay, this is actually on the test, so write both of these down. So normative social influence, and this he did mention it in the video. Think about norms, like normal, social norms. One social norm is walking on the right side of the hallway. Okay, that is a norm. Not throwing your garbage in a garbage can. That is a norm. Okay, so it's basically you're trying to fit in and avoid rejection. Informational social influence or informational conformity is when you say, well, they must be right and I must be wrong because there's so many of them and there's only me, then I must be wrong. And you actually change your reality. I don't think Solomon Asch's experiment is a good example of this because Solomon Asch said both. It's both informational and normative as to why people conform. All right, moving right along. All right, do this. The answer is, all right, so it was reduced when there was a single dissenter, meaning the group has to be unanimous in order for conformity to happen. If there's one other person that says the true answer, then conformity will not happen. All right, try this. The answer is, so Kim wants to fit in, so it would be normative social influence. It's not obedience because she's not obeying a command. All right, do this. The answer is the other members must know the club's procedures. They must be right and I must be wrong. That's informational social influence. Okay. Okay. All right. This is actually on the AP exam. The answer is, remember, you need to have at least 3. Once you have 3, the conformity happens. But if you have less than 3, conformity will not happen. All right, do this one. The answer is fashion is a form of conformity. Okay. All right. There was a guy in the 1960s who studied compliance, obedience. I'm going to show a video that's about 10 minutes long. I hope this is worth it.
And they believe now that this is part of their growth. In fact, it was a reenactment of a powerful experiment conducted by Stanley Milgram in 1963 to look at how normal people can commit atrocious acts simply because they're following orders. Milgram's parents were Jewish refugees in World War II, and his pioneering work speaks volumes about the nature of responsibility. It's being filmed with covert cameras.
Thank you. Lovely.
They're introduced to an actor pretending to be another participant.
You didn't come from the same room? No. Yeah, you don't know each other. No. We don't actually know how punishment affects learning.
After a brief introduction, our subjects are tricked into thinking they've chosen their role as teachers in the experiment.
And if you could just tell me what your positions are?
Learner.
Learner and teacher.
Learner.
Our subjects observe the learner being instructed by the scientist, who is just another actor.
This electrode is connected to a generator in a second room. We will be going with the teacher.
Okay.
Just make sure that we have a good contact with the skin and so it doesn't cause any blistering or burning. Is that comfortable?
That's okay, yeah.
Again, we just place these straps around your arms just to avoid any excess movement. Those aren't too tight.
No, that's okay.
No. The teacher will read out some word pairs to you. Blue girl.
The learner is told he's going to be asked a series of memory questions by the teacher. He will have to word pairs and then correctly remember them when offered multiple choices.
If the answer is incorrect, you will receive an electric shock.
The teacher is then taken next door and shown the generator, which ranges from 15 volts all the way up to a lethal 450 volts. The domestic electricity supply in the UK is, of course, 240 volts.
Your job is to read.
Our teachers are given the list of questions and told to increase the voltage each time the learner gets a question wrong. They are then given an example of a low voltage shock.
And try and estimate in volts the amount of shock you feel you're getting.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Do you know how much that was?
Enough.
75.
It was actually 45.
Oh my god.
Teacher, begin.
Shoe horn. Steam.
The point of this test is to see whether the teachers, our subjects, will call a stop to the experiment or continue to the point where they are administering seemingly lethal electric shocks to the victim simply because the scientist is telling them to.
So it's a study of obedience.
That's correct.
Will this guy obey?
The next word is bicycle. The options: tyre, race, helmet, shorts.
So how far will he go?
That's incorrect. So there'll be 120 volts.
That's American electricity. So is he going to go all the way to 400, or is he going to say enough of it?
I don't think I want to do this anymore.
If you could continue, please, teacher.
There is. No, I don't think I'm going to do anymore.
The experiment requires you to continue.
Yeah, even so, I don't think I'm going to do anymore.
All right, good for him. So he's not obedient. That's good.
Correct.
According to plan, our accomplice provided many wrong answers. Each protest was coordinated to a particular shock voltage on the generator, and his responses were played via a CD.
That's wrong, 150 volts. The correct answer is Captain Shoe.
So what's he going to do?
Cup. That's wrong. 225 volts.
Take it off! I've had enough of this!
So what's he going to do? Is he going to obey?
He's in a lot of pain.
Continue, please.
But he's not comfortable.
We must continue to the end of the experiment. Whether the learner likes it or not, he has to go on until he's learnt the words correctly.
Okay. Forest. That's wrong. 240 volts. Are you sure this is not causing any lasting damage? He sounds like he's in a lot of pain.
Well, the shocks might be painful, they're not harmful.
What does that mean, though? They're not harmful. Sorry, I'm not getting you. When you say that they might be painful but not harmful.
They cause no long-term damage.
Okay, so what does that mean? It doesn't leave any scars?
It causes no damage.
That seems very cold and calculated to me. This doesn't seem like a very... Anyway. Golden.
Fast forward a little bit.
No! That's enough! I refuse to answer anymore! Just let me out!
And he just
The options are diet, jar...
If the learner doesn't answer in a reasonable time, say 4 to 5 seconds, then you have to treat the answer as wrong and follow that procedure.
Did you hear that, learner? Just any response, mate. Come on. Wild guess.
Please continue.
345 volts if you're still with me. I'm sorry. I can't do this, honestly. Can we stop this experiment? Because I can't do this.
If you don't continue, we'll have to discontinue the experiment.
Yeah, okay, fine. That's fine. I'm not going to do this.
So he didn't do too well. He was pretty obedient.
Incorrect. 405 volts.
This guy's already up to 405.
A bit worried about.
If you would continue.
Yep.
It's essential that we continue with the experiment.
So he's going all the way to the top.
You'll be alright. Yeah?
Please continue. Okay, I think we'll discontinue the experiment there.
All of the subject show.
He is okay.
I can tell you, he's absolutely fine. You actually weren't administering electric shocks to him at all. He is.
So this is deep. They're saying that everything's okay.
In the original Milgram experiment, psychologists were asked to predict how many people would continue to the point that they were administering the highest shock on the board. Their prediction was 0.1%. They were wrong.
Pay attention.
The results of our experiment were almost identical to the original. Over 50% of participants continued up to 450 volts. The majority of people will administer lethal electric shocks just because a guy in a white coat is telling them to.
450 volts.
450 volts.
450 volts.
450.
So after the results of the Milgram experiment...
60%. 60% in the original Milgram experiment went all the way to a lethal 450 volts. Now, why did Milgram study this? Because his parents were victims of the Holocaust. And let me tell you about the Holocaust. What caused the Holocaust? Obedience. That's what caused the Holocaust. And he wanted to know, how could people obey the Nazis? When the Nazis said, I want you to round up these Jews and put them on the train, how could people obey these Nazis? So write that down. Milgram's shock experiment studied compliance or obedience. Okay, moving right along. Compliance. All right, do this question. The answer is obedience, compliance. All right, read that. The answer is 60% of people will obey an authority figure. All right, moving right along, write this down. What is social facilitation? Okay, if you speak Spanish, the word facilitate means to make easier. Social means people. So basically, social facilitation means that we perform better in front of a cheering crowd. We perform better than we do in practice in an empty stadium. That's it. That's all I got. That may explain why some sports have a home field advantage. It may not. I don't know. All right, write this down. Social loafing. Loafing, lazy. What are you loafing around for? Lazy. Loafing, lazy. It turns out that we perform worse in groups. I mean, if you were to measure the newtons that somebody pulled on a rope, if you did one-on-one tug-of-war, people would pull harder per person. But if you have 10 people pulling, you're not going to get 10 times the power. That's why I don't like group work. As a student or as a teacher, I don't like group work. People are late. People don't work as hard. I mean, I hate to be all introverted and autistic, but people in groups don't work too well. But you need to learn to work with groups. All right, moving right along. All right, here's a joke. Moving right along. All right, read this. The answer is... All right, so here's a tip. If you make it public who donated what, then you can't have social loafing. Because if you put totals up, then it'll allow people like me to say, well, I'm not giving money. All right, here's another one. The bigger the group size, the amount of effort people put into it. What is this called? The answer is social loafing. Moving right along. All right, read that. The answer is you perform better in front of a crowd than you do during practice. Moving right along. All right, write this down. This is important. So let's do semantic encoding. Individual, D means not, or it means the opposite, like deactivate. All right, destruct. I don't know if that helps. But the point is that people lose their individuality in a group, especially if they are wearing face masks, okay, or they are anonymous. A little de-individuation is fun. That's why going to concerts is fun. That's why going to ball games is fun. You lose yourself in a crowd, but it can get dangerous when you start tearing up the place. Some people might lose self-awareness. On January 6th, some of these people said that they were swept up by the crowd and that they are sorry for breaking windows and destroying property of congressmen. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be punished. I'm just saying that some people felt like they lost themselves in the crowd. Okay. Philadelphia, after they won the Super Bowl, doesn't matter if they win or lose, they're going to tear shit up. Excuse my language, but they're going to tear stuff up. They do that in Canada too when they lose a hockey game. Sometimes when they win a hockey game. And then when they get arrested, they say, I don't know what I was thinking. Okay? So de-individuation is basically you kind of lose yourself in a crowd. And it can be good, but it can also be very destructive. Okay? All right, do this. The answer is de-individuation. All right, read that. The answer is, if you're wearing face masks, and people can't see who you are, then you're more likely to do bad things. It's like you lose your soul. Okay? You lose your identity. All right, write this. That's enough for this video.